In this video, we're going to be using the Ultimate USB version 2.1 and specifically diving into the first category, which is the Antivirus and Rescue, and we'll look at the environments that are available, we'll boot into them, and we'll see just what we can do with those particular environments. If you guys are interested in picking up a copy of the Ultimate USB version 2.1, head on over to bootableusbs.com. Also have this product tagged on the video and some information in the description. Without further ado, let's jump in. Alright, so I have rebooted my computer, and with a USB inserted, like I said, I rebooted, and then I'm using an HP, so typically on HPs it's F9. You want to hit that key consistently as the computer's booting up, and that'll take you to this lovely boot menu that we see right here. Okay, I don't know how lovely it is, but it's the boot menu either way. I want to choose my Transcend ESD 310C. Now on this particular configuration of the HP Elite Desk, I have tweaked the BIOS to allow both legacy, which would be like your BIOS and your UEFI boot, but we'll just boot into the UEFI version for today's demonstration. So this will bring us to the password prompt for the password protected instance of Ventoy. And I cannot talk and type at the same time, so let's try that again. There we go. Like walking and chewing bubblegum. It's a lot harder for some folks. Okay guys, so we're at the main menu here. Like I said, we're going to do a series where we go down every single one of these categories. If you haven't seen the intro video where I just kind of quickly go through every single category, every single ISO, and when I say I go through, I don't boot into them or anything because that would take a lot of time to show every one of these in a single video, hence the reason for the series. We're going to go category by category. Okay, so now we are in the Ventoy front main screen that I have customized for you guys, for myself, for you guys, anyone who picks one of these up. By the way, they're available at bootableusbs.com. We'll have this layout. These things are not locked down. You can fully customize them yourself, but I've added custom icons, obviously a custom background there with my logo, things like that. Yeah, so let's jump right into Antivirus and Rescue. And there's only two options here, but as you'll see as we progress through the series, the desktop operating systems and the WinPE environments, especially those, can be used for the same type of thing here: malware removal, discovery, things like that, scanning. All kinds of cool stuff can be done with the WinPE environments, as you'll see as we again progress through the series. But for today, let's dive into a Vera Rescue system. This is a live instance of Avira. It's a, as it says, rescue environment. I'm going to choose English. And we'll give this thing a second to boot up. It does have a standalone Ubuntu environment that it runs on, so we should see Ubuntu here in just a few seconds. Okay, looks like our Ubuntu environment of a Vera Rescue system has loaded, and as you know, I always read these end user license agreements, or EULAs, word for word. Good thing I'm one of the fastest readers in the world, so I'll just go through this quickly. Yeah, pretty standard stuff there. Feel free to read through it yourself, but like I said, I read the whole thing, and not a whole lot to speak about there. It's pretty standard stuff. Now, if you have encrypted drives like I do on the system where I'm booting the USB from, you can either skip those or enter the password to decrypt them. I'm going to skip them. I've actually just put together a USB for this particular example where I have a second USB with some files on it for scanning for a demonstration. Otherwise, it would take quite a while to go through an entire system volume where Windows is installed and I've got, hundreds of gigs worth of data. So what we see here is very important. This warning, it says detection database is outdated. Please update. You don't want to run a scan with old definitions because the newest vulnerabilities are likely what you've been impacted by if you have some type of malware in your system. So you always want to get the latest defs. So we're going to do check for updates. And as you see, we are connected here. And then we'll click update. And we'll give this a few minutes to get the latest definitions. Okay, our database engine is now up to date with the latest definitions. So you see update completed. So now we can start a scan. I want to do a selective scan in this case. You could do a full scan or a quick scan, but it's best to do a targeted or selected scan to make sure you're targeting the correct drive and or volume or even directory and or file level. So this tool is nice because it does give you the granularity to drill down and pick what exactly it is that you're trying to scan. So I'm going to find that USB flash drive that I just formatted quickly and threw some downloaded files on here so we can have an example. So I have a 63 gigabyte volume, and I'll go ahead and open this. And now we are scanning that, and as you see there, it was quick because there wasn't a lot to scan there, but there were no threats found. So you would do that for, any case that you wanted to run that against, whether that be a system volume. You could select just specific folders within here if you want. And again, no threats were found. Okay. So, like I said, you want to boot into this for scanning malware, or, my example is actually a pretty good real world case scenario where if you're at work and a vendor brings in a USB, hopefully you guys aren't just letting these third parties plug in their USB drives to devices on your network. You definitely want to have a policy and a process in place for that. Maybe you provide the USB drive. That's not always practical because, in the real world they may have something on their drive they're not willing to let you have to copy to another drive, so on and so forth. But worst case, you should at least scan their drive with some type of antivirus, anti-malware detection before allowing them to plug it into your systems. And the best way to do that, honestly, is a device, whether it be a PC or a laptop, that is not on your production network and is in some type of a live environment booted like this here. That way it's segmented and, basically air gapped, like if you have a guest network or something like that you're running it on. But yeah, I definitely recommend you guys following some type of process like that. And this is a good example of where I plugged in a flash drive and I was able to scan that and make sure there's no malware present before putting that on any type of production environments. All right, so that is the Avira Rescue system environment. We've got one more to look at, that being Dr.Web. So let's go ahead and reboot this and we'll take a look. All right, so back into the first category, Antivirus and Rescue. This time, Dr.Web Live. We'll try it in normal mode, and I do speak English last time I checked. We'll let this boot up. Now we do see a message here, could not find Windows on this computer. In my case, that's because the drives are encrypted. The system volumes that I have here, those drives are encrypted, but we're not going to worry about that. We're going to scan again and see if we can target the USB drive that we've put together just for this demonstration. Okay, so you do have to accept their little agreement there. Click on continue. And then we can just run the scan here, or we can check for updates to the environment. A utility for that, yes, update virus databases. So any solution that's a rescue environment that is worth its salt at all is going to have an update feature. Otherwise, whenever this was created, that's a static point in time where the definitions were loaded into the database, and therefore anything after that date it's not going to know about. But Dr.Web's decent enough to have that updater, so it just pulled down all the latest definitions, and now we're up to date. Okay, so I'll launch it again here, and you'll see it still has the same warning about couldn't find Windows. Again, that's due to the encrypted volumes. But now we see that our definitions are up to date, so we'll select the agreement again and continue. Now you could just try to scan everything, but we're going to run into some issues there. One, it's going to take way too long, and two, it's not going to be able to access the volumes that are encrypted. So I'm going to do a granular scan with select objects and files to scan, and then I'm not sure which one of these volumes is my 64 gig, so I think if I click on the select files and folders, we should be able to make that determination pretty quickly. And it looks like this is it. Again, I just grabbed some files out of my downloads folder and I threw them in there. So we'll scan the D drive. We're now going to be scanning the D drive, and we're going to click start scanning. This should be pretty quick. Scanned objects 153 total. Took it 12 seconds and there were no threats detected. Okay, so that was Dr.Web, and we also looked at Avira. Now that's the smallest category, one of the smallest categories on this USB. In the next video, we'll get into some of the more meat and potatoes of this stick, being the desktop OS. I think we have 11 total on there, 10 or 11. And there's some really good ones, a lot of those featuring persistence. So make sure you guys stick around for that video and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Hit that thumbs up button while you're at it, guys. It really does help the channel, and I appreciate it. And yeah, leave me a comment to let me know which one of these you prefer, whether that be Avira or Dr.Web. And again, in the following videos, we're going to dive into a lot more as far as malware and recovery and things like that when we get into the desktop and especially the WinPE environments. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. And until the next one, take care.